Hello, my name is Mike Meditol Handmade Knives out of Sherman, Texas. My website is texasmadeknives.com. If you would like to go by the website and take a look at some of the previous jimping projects I've done, there's several examples there. Today what I'm going to be doing though is showing you the steps to file a rope pattern on the spine of a 1095 high carbon steel blank. I went ahead and cut one out. This is the blade we're going to be working with today. It's just a basic drop point blank. I haven't done anything else to it other than just drill the handle. So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and get the camera set up over at the vise, and then I'll go through the first steps to get you started. See you over there. Okay, here we are over at the vise. Again, this is the blank we're going to be using today to do the rope pattern on the spine. This is 1095 high carbon steel, and it should be fairly soft. It's already been annealed, which will make it a lot easier for us to get our pattern on it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put it in the vise and measure off 1/4 inch marks, and that's where we're going to do each of our initial filing. I'll be using a 3/16 round file. I like to use the chainsaw sharpening files. This is an Oregon file. It's a good one. They're not expensive, so I would say go ahead and get the brand names if you're going to be getting some 3/16 files. And I'm going to measure the 1/4 inch increments using, it's just an old piece of a yardstick, but as you can see I've got the 1/4 inch marks on there. And it's pretty important when you get your start on your filing that you stick to that 1/4 inch and keep it as close as you can, because if you don't, you'll be able to tell you didn't when you get to the finished product. So we're going to go ahead and mark it off. And again, you need to get pretty close. This isn't as forgiving as some of the patterns you might do. So if you see me making more than one mark, it's because that second mark is going to point to the actual measurement that I want. And you can use your own system, whatever works for you. And then go back and just take a look that everything's going to work for you. Looks pretty good. Okay. Now there are a couple of ways you can start here. Some people will just go ahead and start filing away. They have a steady enough hand, they can get over that mark and they can start their filing process. The second thing you can do is you can take a hacksaw, which gives you a little bit more accuracy, actually quite a bit more accuracy than just going at it with a file, and make your cuts with the hacksaw. And you're just going to go down far enough just to give you an indentation that you can come back with your file, and it's going to hold your file in position while you make your cut. And then the third way you can do it is with a Dremel. And I used to use the hacksaw, but I've started now using the Dremel to make my cuts, and primarily because I can get it a lot more accurate with the Dremel, and it's a lot faster with the Dremel. So I'm going to move the camera around so you can see what I'm doing with the Dremel. So we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm going to make these cuts using the Dremel. Okay, I'm going to make these cuts using the Dremel. And again, I'm just going to go just deep enough to get a groove there so that I can use to guide my file when I come back and start doing my file work. So what I normally do is I use this hand to brace the Dremel to keep it straight and steady. I don't have the dexterity that I had at an earlier age in my life, so any kind of an edge I can give myself, I do. So I'm going to put my hand in here to hold the Dremel steady, and then I'm going to start making my cuts. And we'll put it on the low setting. And get started. As you can see, I'm just scratching the surface. And you might see a couple of those are a little larger. I got off a couple there, but I came back and made my cut so that it's going to drop down into the slot I need it to, except for that one right there. I'm going to fix that one. So this doesn't have to be exact, but you want to still be able to get your file in position so that they're all perfectly equidistant. So what I'm going to do now is move the camera again, and then we'll start filing. Be right back. Alright, I've got the knife in place. I'm going to start to the rear of the knife and work forward. And this is where I had a couple of issues when I was with the cutting blade. So I'll go through those and kind of show you how I fix those. So the first cut is right here on the butt of the blade. Just work your file till you feel like you're in the groove, and then you start your file. And I've kind of worked with these for a while, so for me it takes about 18 standard pushes with the file. So I'm going to be counting them off. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 18. Go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. That's 18. One, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. It's 18. If you look at it, it doesn't look like a uniform cut. You can go back and give it a few quick swipes to make sure it looks cylindrical through there. Okay. Now this is one where I had to cut several different cuts. I'm going to go past this one. This is the bad cut. I'm going to go past this one to the next one. Okay, I'm going to come back to this one. And it should fall into a groove, but if it doesn't, you can still see your other chew that you just cut. And you want to stay right in the middle of those two. And that's pretty good. And if they're not perfect, it's okay, because you'll see why when we come back to the next step. But you want to keep them as uniform as possible. Okay, they're looking pretty good. Still, like I said, you can smooth them up and make them try to be as uniform as possible. We'll see if you can see it there. There's what you've got so far. And then these are some of the little cuts that I made with the Dremel. And then that's the filing we've done so far. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go through all of these, but I'm not going to make you suffer through each one. So I'm going to stop the camera and file the rest of these 3/16" cuts, and then I'll be right back. Okay, where we are now is I've gone down and I've filed each one of those lines. So we'll take it out of the vise and take a look at it. And that's the first cut. And I hit each one of those with about 18 cuts with the file. Whatever your pressure is that you put on it, or your muscle memory, you'll just have to determine what works best for you. And after you've done a few of them, you'll get a feel for it, and it won't be that difficult. So what I'm going to do is make a second cut now. So I'm going to remove the camera again, and then we'll get back to the cut number 2. Okay, for my second file cut, again using the same 3/16" inch Oregon chainsaw sharpener, I'm going to come into each one of these little cuts we've already made that were straight across horizontal, and I'm going to come in at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to also be 45-degree angle to the knife itself. So it's kind of a compound angle, and we're going to go all the way down the knife blade at the 45 to the blade and 45 to the edge. So here we go, first cut. Again, I'm going to do another 18 cuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Might have done a little extra there, but sue me. get the idea. 45-degree angle to the blade, 45-degree angle on the edge with the 3/16 file. I'm going to shut off the camera, finish down this side, and then I'll show you the next cut. Okay, I finished all these cuts all the way down to the end, and again 45 degrees to the knife, 45-degree angle down, and I've gone down to the very last one. Now what I want to do is continue that angle to the other side of the blade, but instead of trying to hit it from this way, I'm going to reverse the way this blade is in the vise so that I have a good angle on it. So what I'm going to do now, turn the blade around this way. Here's the cut I just made. So I'm just going to follow that over to the other side like this. Same angle, 45 degree to the blade, 45 degrees to the edge. So here we go. Go down to the next one. We're doing the 18 cuts, 18 to 20. I have to move the blade because I'm running into my vise here. So let's run it off to the other side. Chasing the file a little bit around the shop, but no problem. Okay. So you get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off, finish the rest of the way down, and then I'll bring you up to speed on the next step. Okay. The fourth and the last cut is kind of a movement over the blade. So what I'm going to do now is slowly work. I'm going to start in the middle of the blade and just do this portion here, and then we'll come back and look at that. There's no point in doing all of it at this point. So I'm in that groove, and we'll take it over the blade in that same 45-degree configuration. We'll take that little sharp top out of it. Keep that angle in there so you don't knock any edges off that you're going to want to keep. Okay, let's move down to the next one and do the same thing. on down to the next one. And this is the first time down. Once you kind of get them rounded off so that you've got that rope look, you might want to come back and hit them again just to make them look more uniform. But this is just the initial cut. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to round off that little peak there that's in the middle of that first cut. Try to maintain that 45-degree angle. If you're not paying attention, you'll kind of straighten it out, and that's going to mess up your cut. Going right back up, just smoothing them out a little bit more. Okay, so that's got your final rope pattern set there. This is the portion we haven't done. This down is your basic rope. And as you work on the blade, you're going to end up rounding off these edges. As you go through the sanding process, pay attention to these. You can also go to the belt grinder and you can sand off the top of this to kind of make it more uniform, but be careful you don't take away the basic pattern that you're trying to accomplish. Here, if I see if I can show the rope pattern to you a little bit closer to the camera. Down here is the portion we just finished, and there's a piece there that's going to need a little bit more filing, but you see the pattern that's forming there. Then again, as I said, once you go through the process of working your blade down, doing some sanding on it, take it over to the grinder, and taking these edges off as you process the blade will give you a really nice rope pattern. But that's the basic filing process. Then the rest of it is just cleaning it up and touching it up with sandpaper. Okay, well, that's my process for filing the rope pattern on the spine of a knife. Again, this is basically the final product. You can see that pattern that's forming. And as you process the knife blade and you continue to do some sanding with not only the belt grinder to kind of dress that up and to even it up on top, also as you sand these edges down, it's going to make it look a lot more like a rope as these corners get rounded off. And then when you put your handles on it, it's really going to dress up the knife. It looks cool. So I think you'll enjoy that particular pattern. If you have any questions, suggestions, or if you'd like to see a video on anything else, please just let me know. You can give us a like at the bottom if you enjoyed the video. But until next time, keep on grinding.